Hello, 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 hello. Hi, my name is Kat Brogan. Thank you so much. If you've suddenly seen this notification come and you want to join us, or if you're watching on the replay, that's also great. I'm here today to chat to you about one of the longest running initiatives that we've had at Nose Nest, and that is the Queer2Queer support group. So I'm super excited to welcome to the screen the wonderful Yazid and Felicia. Hi, how you doing? Oh, look, we got one person watching. Ooh, hi, one person.
Are we on the internet?
Yes, we are here with two people. How exciting. Thank you for joining us. We're going to chat about Queer2Queer support group. So if you out there are interested in joining the support group next Sunday, so a week tomorrow, right? Have I got that right? Oh, no, it's next Saturday. Correct me here, Yazid. When's the next Queer2Queer support group?
It's the 26th.
It's going to be next Sunday.
26. So that's the Sunday. Yep. It is next Sunday. I got that bit right.
Yeah.
Awesome. Mm-hmm. And what time is it going to be at?
Yeah. It's going to be from 4 to 6.
Yeah, evening.
Awesome. So 4 to 6 p.m. on Sunday, the 26th of July. At Nose Nest, you can.
It's actually at 4:30, but I'm saying 4 because I know people show up late a lot of the time. So saying it at 4 just kind of keeps it safe.
That's yeah. We should just lie to people to motivate them. So please do join us if you'd like to. So this is kind of a chance for people to find out a little bit more about what to expect. A little try before you buy. So maybe I can just get you guys to introduce yourselves to start with and let people know a little bit about what got you guys interested in setting up a support group at Nose Nest.
Okay.
Do you want to go first, Phil?
Okay, I'll start with just a basic introduction of myself. Hello, Internet. My name is Felicia, but people call me Philly. My friends call me Philly. I graduated with a psychology degree together with Yazid here. And it was shortly after my university life where I discovered Everybody Knows and Nose Nest and all these wonderful queer spaces. And me and Yazid were just really inspired by everyone's stories, everyone's passions, and everyone's creativity. And we wanted to give back to the community. And we thought, what better way to kind of give the best of ourselves than to open a support group and give a space for voices that need it. Yeah. Yazid, do you want to go?
Yeah, sure. So, like Philly, I also graduated with a degree in psychology, and we were involved in a lot of peer support stuff when we were in uni. So, coming out of it and encountering the nose community and seeing just all the passionate people working to help the community, we wanted to do something for it as well, just like Philly said. So yeah, we decided to put our skills in mental health and all that stuff to use. Not that we're trained counselors or anything, we've just got basic skills in facilitating a group. And yeah, as much as possible, we wanted to make it a whole peer-led thing. So it's not just about us. We also have some materials for people who are interested in starting up their own support groups or even taking over running the support groups from us. And we've already had one person do that before, where they took over facilitating, which was really great.
Yeah, I think this the support group actually started with it just started with the two of us. Me and Yazid were queer and young and naive in university, and our friendship together helped us through a lot of things in university. And when we encountered Everybody Knows and met all the beautiful people there, we thought what a great opportunity this is to share that strength and that what's the word I'm looking for? That solace in knowing that you're not alone and that there's somebody to listen to you when you need a voice to lean on.
Awesome. So what can people expect if they decide to come on Sunday? What kind of, how do you conduct the group? Can you kind of walk us through it? If people have never know what to expect, they're like, what happens there? What does that mean? Am I going to have to tell my deep, dark secrets?
Well, normally we start the sessions with like a little bit of an introduction about what kind of values like we want in this group, and to make sure that the conversation is constructive, you know. Like, so we have this little intro where we talk about the different values that we've got, and we have a brochure which we'll share over with you guys soon, and we can maybe post online that you guys can read through those values and get a better idea of what they are. And yeah, so after that, we will then go into a bit where basically we just ask if anyone has had anything that they're struggling with during the past month, anything in particular that's stressing them out that they'd be comfortable to share. And like there's no pressure to share as well. Like every person takes it at their own pace. So we really just want to encourage people to enter this space where they can feel safe to share when they're ready. Oh, hello. Yeah, so normally we go in a circle and we just kind of ask, how's your week going? And then everyone chimes in with like, a little bit of supportive encouragement, a little bit of advice, or just some like new perspective on what they're going through, which might help them through it. Do you have anything to add, Billy? Keep playing the wrong way.
Well, there's four main things that happens in a queer support group meeting. Basically, the basic introductions, allowing people to introduce themselves the way they want to be known, their age, where they comes from, what's their sexuality, if they're comfortable sharing that, of course. And like Yazid said, sharing anything that's on their mind, stressing them out, or anything they just want to share, whether it's happy or stressful or conflicted, so the self-help is there. There's also this atmosphere of acceptance and safety, because this is a closed group session. So there's solace in knowing that the people around you make the group a safe space by being respectful, not non-judgmental to each other. It's not a place for criticism or judgment of anyone's choices. Everyone's there to give a helping hand and lend an ear to anyone who is in the group. Of course, there's always confidentiality. What happens and what is said in the group always stays in the group. Once the session ends, where everyone should be respectful and not reveal information about what the people attending is what was said. The only exception is when the safety of a group member is jeopardized, and then we need to take that into consideration and take that into bigger hands. And lastly, I think is peer leadership. This group is organized and facilitated by me and Yazid, who are fellow queers. I'm a bisexual cisgender woman. And we do our best to guide discussions, provide focus, and ensure that the group values are followed. There are times where group sessions can get out of hand, and people have conflicting opinions, and me and Yazid are there to ensure that everyone there has a say and everyone has the time to say what they want to say. Any member of the group can volunteer, of course, to facilitate the next session, which is what makes it fun for the two of us, because it feels like someone else is joining the family. And they'll be given the guidance and resources to do so, as Yazid has mentioned before. Yeah. So if anyone out there is interested, you can just DM Kat or Yazid or I, and we can give you the tips and the guidance to do so.
Great. So it's really all about laying those ground rules so people know what to expect going in from into the conversation. If they don't want to share, they don't have to share. There's absolutely no pressure. You can sit in the corner and not say anything apart from like, hello, this is my name, this is my pronouns. But you facilitators are also there to just make sure that people have an opportunity to speak. And I know that, I've been to a couple of sessions, and there has been some powerful moments where certain people haven't spoken the whole time. And then maybe right at the end, they'll kind of be invited if they would like to say anything. And then actually there's been a really powerful sharing that's happened in that moment. So I think it's about getting that balance right between we've set the ground rules, you've set the expectations for everyone joining in, and then saying, if you want to share, you can. If you don't want to share, no pressure. But you also need to make sure that the group, say, isn't dominated by one person's issue also, right? That it is that it's space for everybody to share. Yeah. It's not 10 people all talk about your problem.
Yeah, it can be quite pressuring at times, because even though it's a small group, to have all those eyes on you can get really nervous. But me and Yesid are there to be like, hey, this is your time. Own your issues and own who you are, and just be true to that. And usually they find the power and the strength in themselves to even just voice it out. Yeah, it's one of those really beautiful moments that Yazid and I always just kind of think to ourselves and just like, wow, this is worth it.
So this is going to be our first physical one since. Did we have one in March or was it February?
Oh my word. I think February.
Ooh, I think
February was the last one before Chinese New Year. That was so long ago.
Yeah. Did we have one in February? I can't remember anymore. But it's been definitely the first one.
We had it the weekend just before the MCO.
Right, we did. That's
Yes.
the very last things we did before everything to top blah. So, what kind of things are you expecting that people might be dealing with over the MCO, or maybe you want to talk from your own experience about what issues are coming up for people that you might expect?
Okay. You want to go first, Yazid?
Ooh, all right, I'm in the hot seat. Okay, so yeah, I think the biggest problem with
MCO, yeah, did for queer people.
I think one of the biggest problems with the MCO is that a lot of queer people. Oh Lord, it's thunder now. But anyway, a lot of queer people are stuck in their houses and sometimes with their families, and a lot of the times their families are not very accepting, and because of that, they're put in situations where they might have to be dead named, or they might they might constantly have to encounter family members who are really rejecting of them, and being stuck together in those those really close confines for a really long time. That can be a huge struggle, and I think as queer people, something we've all done is we've created communities of people we care about who are not necessarily family. And during MCO, it was so hard for us to physically remain connected in those communities. So I think all of us are coming out of this place of a lot of kind of isolation, a lot of stress, and just general anxiety about the state of the world, and I think there's definitely going to be a lot to talk about at our next session. What about you, Phil?
Well, I resonate a lot with what you said about being, at home and not feeling comfortable enough to be your true self. Because that was a challenge for me in the first few months of MCO. Personally, it was just really hard, and I fell quite deeply into a spiral. And it wasn't until 2 months after where I was able to pick myself up, and it was with Yazid's help. So I'm really grateful for that to him. And other issues, I think just generally I was feeling less productive, and I was feeling at the same time a pressure to live up to the productivity. You know how during MCO everyone is like, oh, I'm cooking, I'm making all these TikToks, working out again, and it just felt like so much pressure to do the same. But I came to a realization that I didn't have to do that. I didn't have to prove that to anyone. And now it's been what, five months into MCO? Is that 5 months?
I can't believe it, but yeah, you're right.
5 months into MCO. This is
four-ish.
Okay, it feels like 5 months, Yeah, and it's just now you just take everything one day at a time, and each day has its struggles, but you learn to live through it.
Yeah, for sure. I think for me, something I've really struggled with is that it's whenever I'm like a real workaholic. I'm a real kind of go, and I've always got something else to do, and then suddenly everything's stopped, and then it's rather than having to find all that exterior validation to just having, okay, so what now? Who am I when I don't have all the things to do? I think
exactly.
Really interesting. And then it's like you say, also it does, my friend said it's like moving through treacle, that even or probably gula molasses would be the more culturally specific. And even my dad has been saying it just feels so slow, like you don't low energy. You think like, oh, I'll be able to do so many things, but you just it just seems like time kind of slips by. But I also wonder if there's something kind of like mindful in that, or something like everything kind of stripped away, and then we've all been sent to our room, and we're all in this kind of cave thinking about what we've done and who we are. And I also wonder if there's like an opportunity to come out of this with a new perspective.
Mm-hmm.
I think you
That's
made
a
a
really
really
beautiful
powerful
way
point
of
there,
looking at
Kat.
it. Oh, you were saying, yes? Didn't mean to cut you off.
Sorry. No, not at all. I think my network's not so great. But I think you made a really powerful point there, Kat, because like, the fact that everyone was stuck at home as well, and the fact that we couldn't do the things we normally do, like it meant that a lot of people had to like reconstruct their own identities, like not around external things, but around internal things, start rediscovering the things they loved, or start discovering the stressors in their life that maybe had been left unattended up to that point, like, and it gave us all an opportunity to kind of like look at our own lives in a perspective that was not available to us before, just because everything else was going on, like, but since everything else stopped, like, I think it gave us a chance to like, to introspect.
Mm. And then now, as we're so slowly coming out of this in a it's very slowly, it's not as if like, I mean, because it's happened so fast.
Yeah.
One moment to the next, it was like lockdown. I remember saying to Yo-Yo, like, do you think we need to go and panic buy? And then it was like the next thing, like everything was just closed, right? It was so quick. And then now it's like it's so slow to and I feel like we're not gonna go back to normal. Like, what is normal, and do we really want to go back to normal also? And how can we decide how it is that we want to do it? But of course, there's so many stresses for people with money. I know I've had a pay cut, I've had term extended. That's stressing me. So there's also and not being able to go back and see my parents. I can't bali kampong. So I think a lot of those kind of issues as well that people must be facing. So there's a lot of surrender, just kind of having to surrender to the circumstances and be in the moment and find joy in whatever way you can, in a way.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that. There was a time in the first few months, it was really hard for me to kind of accept that this was the new reality in the present moment, that like me being stuck in my room and having to work and doing all the things that I used to do outside, I had to do it inside. I had to find a way to kind of integrate that, but all into the confines of my room, which, by the way, I didn't have a window. I don't have a window in my home. So it was just four walls, and I felt so like suffocated, and it was really difficult for me to find that kind of surrender to that this is the truth now, and I just have to accept it and like kind of live with it. And I did so much reflection, so much introspection, had a few breakdowns, and like it was all very emotional and all pent up, not even from just the MCO. Like I found that parts of me were coming up in ways that I didn't even know were there. Like all my subconscious desires and troubles were just coming back up. And it took a lot of writing and creative, like art, expressive art therapy, not actual therapy, but I was just, doodling to myself in my room and like God knows what time. And yeah, it's a really long process, and it's really difficult. But I think that there are people in the world right now who are suffering more than I am, and I feel very blessed and privileged that at least I am comfortable in the environment that I am in, even though I am struggling. Yeah, that's why we were thinking of doing Queer2Queer support groups virtually. Yeah.
Sure. And what do you think is the value of people coming together in a group like this? How do you think it can help people?
Well, like, I'm a big believer in... Oh, sorry, did you want to go, Phil?
No, you go ahead.
You both so
Like,
polite.
hey, I mean, this is how we run the support groups as well.
Would you like to?
But yeah, like I think personally, like me and Phil both, I think we're big believers in like the wisdom of the collective. You know, like I think that each person has a very unique path that they take on their life, and it gives them certain lessons, certain perspectives, and stuff like that. And when you create these safe spaces for people to come together and share those perspectives with each other, to learn from each other's journeys, I think that there can be some really powerful moments in that. You know, like that you can find people who are maybe a few steps ahead of you or a few steps behind you, and that you can benefit from each other's perspectives, you know, like, and or even people who are entirely different paths than you, who might have observations or perspectives that will really help you along yours, you know. And I think we've seen a lot of that in the sessions that we've run so far, where like, you know, people from really different backgrounds and stuff like that are providing some really meaningful help to each other through that safe space, you know. So like that's what we really want to encourage, and that's why we think people should come together and talk about these like slightly more difficult topics. You know, like there is a tendency to want to keep everything joyous and bubbly in conversation, and there's definitely a place for that. But I also think there should be spaces where people can bring up things that are a little darker, a little more difficult to share, and find the support and love that they need from their community. You know.
For sure. Because I mean, I'm somebody who like enjoys a good old deep and meaningful, and like taking it all out of the box. I'm like, let's get it out of the box, you know. But for a lot of people, like that's quite unnerving, and they're like, put it back in the box. That's what the box is for. You know? Stop it! You just left your shit everywhere. You know, it's true. Can we not just like pretend like everything's okay? But I guess I'm wondering from like a psychological point of view, like if we just keep trying to pretend everything's okay and bury it and just say, oh no, I'm so lucky, I'm so grateful. What kind of effect can that have on people if they just try and like pretend everything is okay all of the time or not talk about problems?
Ooh, that's a good question. I don't think I have a
You want to
definite
go?
answer to that. But I think from a psychological perspective, if you try to deny the truth that is in front of you, it's going to you're not only lying to yourself, but you're lying to the world, you know? And you have to, like, no matter how difficult it is, you have to come to the realization that, like, this is the truth and you have to live up to it. And I know that it's difficult. Psychologically, it can really, it kind of affects you in a way that your mind and yourself and the way you see the world is all separated and it's disorganized, and your mind likes organized things, right? It likes like, oh, this is the box for
Patterns
and patterns, recognitions, and all that. And when you don't have that, you get severely disorganized and your mind just gets all jumbled up with all this, and you get confused and you get all emotional, but you don't know how to process it because what you're saying is the truth isn't actually the truth. I don't know if that was a good answer to that, but like, you know, that's just my opinion.
If I can add to it a little bit,
if I
can add to it a little bit, anyway, if I can add to it a little bit, like I think also like the subconscious plays a big role there. You know, if you look at the work of like Carl Jung and Freud and stuff like that, they talk about how like there is this dark side that everyone has in their subconscious. You know, all your urges and then all of the kind of like all of the things that you're maybe not comfortable bringing out into truth and stuff like that. That you're not comfortable like saying or doing or even thinking. You know, but the thing is, what happens when those things get buried into your subconscious is they find sneaky ways to get out. You know, like they start acting themselves out through your behavior. You start having these really like Billy said, like these irrational thoughts and behaviors that you yourself don't fully understand why you're doing it. You know, and that's just because like there are some parts of yourself or some aspects of yourself that have just been buried so deep that the only ways that they can get out is through your subconscious and in the moments when you're not in control of yourself, you know? So I think that like having that kind of of course.
Oh my god. Okay. Since now that you've like kind of structured that I want to add on to that by saying that your subconscious affects you in ways that you can't control. That's what you were saying, right? And one of those ways is dreams. A lot of people I've been talking to have been having crazy dreams, like all their subconscious conflict and desires all manifested in their dreams, right? Because you don't want to talk about it when you're conscious and when you're awake. So when you're dreaming, it's all coming out and it's all right there in front of you, but it's your choice whether you want to interpret it, oh, it's just a dream, or if that dream is something trying to tell you something, you know?
For sure. And I know for me, I feel like it really comes out physically. Like I'll get bad sinuses, or even just like things will start going wrong in my life, or I'll just get really cross for like no reason, like in the car, or I'll like really overreact to something that's like not important. And then you're like, why am I being like a psycho right now? There's no need. And then you cause like more issues where there wasn't a need to be an issue because of something else. Something else has happened, and then it sort of erupted at that point in your life. And I think as queer people also having a space that's kind of somewhat that you've got this anonymity is actually really important. I know that whenever I first came out, I couldn't come out to like my friends or like my family. I like my best friend, I didn't tell her. I actually ended up coming out to sort of a friend of mine who I didn't see very often. And I think one of the reasons why I did that was this thing about truth, that I felt like, oh, if I come out, then that means that who I was before was like a lie. And I felt like it was sort of easier to say it to the person who I knew I wasn't going to see again, like for a while, right? He wasn't in my life on like a daily basis. And I didn't have, he's also really quiet, so I knew he wouldn't really ask me anything. Very like, and he would be like, So I think sometimes that's just really important to have a non-judgmental listening space where you don't have to worry, like, okay, if it's your best friend or your family member then saying like, oh, but are you bringing it up again at another time when you don't want to talk about it? Sometimes I think it's like easier to like just like tell a stranger, like to practice yourself almost.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, exactly. Because there's some things, especially for us as queer people, that we just can't share with the people closest to us, or that they can't relate to, because queer experiences and heterosexual experiences can be very different in some specific ways, but important ones as well, So like having that space of anonymity, like you said, where people can not only hear you, but understand and relate to the thing you're talking about, can be a pretty powerful thing.
Yeah, for sure. And not to sort of, and it's difficult because when do you bring up these things with people in your life? Like a cup of tea, by the way, I'm gay. It's sort of, it's like, when do you do it? Like, it's really hard to, or if you see your friend and you don't want to suddenly like tell them your massive existential crisis.
Yeah.
Oh. So
Thanks, Joa.
Hi, Joa. It's nice to see you.
Awesome. So we've been chatting now for a good 28 minutes. That's awesome. So if anybody is watching on the replay and you have any questions, please do comment, and we can try and get back to you on that. I think we've already had some people who've booked for the session on Sunday. How many people are we gonna have? I think what we decided was if we have a certain number, you guys might separately.
Oh yeah. So if it's more than 20 people.
20 people's our like number that we're. Well, how much do you have in the group? If there was 20, would you have like 10 and 10, or what do you think's like the ideal size? The ideal number?
I think like 8 to 10 is pretty manageable. Like past 10, I don't think like one facilitator can handle it. So like if we can keep the groups to about like somewhere between 8 and 10, then yeah, we'll be happy to like split up into different groups as well if there's a lot of people who come by. And yeah, we do have contingency plans for it. And we've also got some of the members who have visited like quite a few times before, who have expressed interest in coming to the next one. So, like if we really need to split into like 3 or 4 groups, I'm sure they'll be able to like help facilitate the conversations as well. Yeah.
Awesome. And it's great to have that mix as well between people who are just coming for the first time, and then people who maybe been to the support group for a few times, and so that you've got that mix of experience levels.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
The diversity is always really nice. It's really heartwarming also.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
It has been like a really amazing experience to have run the support group.
Yeah.
Or help run it.
Great. Well, I think also for me personally, I've been on my therapy journey, and it's definitely been highs and lows, for sure. But I feel really grateful that I've been able to access it, because I think that that's one of the biggest hurdles is access. It's like it's money and it's time. But if you are able to do that, it's a very revolutionary thing, and hopefully this will be a place either for people who've never thought about therapy before or never thought that they could. It's not therapy, by the way, guys. It's queer. It's a peer-to-peer
therapy.
Not therapy, but I think it's a really good place to start and a really good opportunity for people to access that support and have that space held for them where they can be listened to, and it's judgment free. And I think we've also had some people who've maybe been in therapy already and they're kind of feel like they're ready to that they're at a good point in their healing journey, because it's a journey and it's a process and it never ends. And then Queer2Queer support group is a nice way of making sure they're maintaining their mental health and they're keeping aware of it. Yeah, awesome. Thank you so much, guys. We really appreciate having you at Nose Nest. It's really awesome. And
thank you for the space.
Yeah, it's been an honor.
Oh, we would really love to see more people like stepping up and using their skills and their time and their expertise to offer services at Nest. Is there anything that you would maybe say to people who might be thinking about it, who like aren't sure, who are like on the fence, and maybe anything that you've experienced from organizing at Nest?
You want to go first?
Okay, yeah, sure. Thanks, Phil. So yeah, like I think if you're on the fence about it, I think like talk to the people at Nest, because I think you'll find that they're really supportive, they're really helpful, and the thing is like it's not gonna be a journey that you have to undertake alone. Like you're gonna get people to help you through it. You're gonna get people with a lot of experience working with the community in a lot of different ways, who can help guide you as to like how to make whatever your vision of great program for Nose Nest would be a reality. Ooh, thanks, Joa. Looking forward to seeing you as well.
Yeah. If I could add on to that. Oh wait, sorry. I didn't realize you weren't done. Go ahead.
Oh no, it's all right. You can go for it.
You're too nice for the internet, Yazid.
Grab your space.
Own your journey. What is this? Yeah.
No, the last thing I wanted to say was just that, like, yeah, there's going to be a lot of help, and all you have to do is reach out and just share your vision with the people around you. Because everyone at Nose Nest that I've met have been amazing in helping me set up like us group that, because like she actually helped in question from her previous support group. So, you know, like there's probably people who have experience doing the thing that you want to do who will be willing to give you the help to make sure it's done well. So just reach out and take that first step.
Yeah, for sure. Exactly. It's also, I think, that thing about sometimes we compare people with other people, or certain people will start something and then someone else will take it on. So you don't have to sort of do it on your own. What did you want to say there, Phil? Go ahead.
Just adding on to it, even, I mean, if you're on this fence about not being sure if you're ready to undertake sharing about your experience and your mental health, it doesn't matter, because it will be good to give a lending hand and just help listen to someone who may need someone to listen to, you know? And who knows, by hearing the collective wisdom that is shared in the circle, you might feel not the compellingness, but just the strength and the love that is there, and find some solace in it and find comfort in knowing that there are people who will listen and who will help. Yeah.
Sure. I think there's a lot to be said in being seen and being heard. Sure. Awesome. So thank you so much, guys. Joe James asked, do we need to pay? So we do have a donation. If you can donate, please donate 10 ringgit via the bit.ly/nose donate DON8 link. And then if you just put support group or Queer2Queer in the payment purpose, then we know that it's for that. Of course, if you can't afford it, like, just come anyway. It's okay. But do let us know, because COVID and all that. So we're trying to keep Nose Nest to a maximum of 20 people at the moment, just so we can make sure everybody's safe. So yeah, please do let us know in advance if you'd like to come, either through our Instagram, our Facebook, our email, carrier pigeon, whatever. Good. And yeah, thank you so much, everybody, for joining us on this live chat. And if you're watching in the replay, thank you also. And hopefully now you can put a faces to our wonderful Queer2Queer support group. And I really hope you're going to join us next Sunday. Not tomorrow.
Looking forward to seeing all of you.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Love you. Mwah.
Love you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
All right. Cool.